Hi friends, spiritual teacher Marianne Goldweber here from a village, coming to you on Wednesday night for our spiritual podcast called Marianne's House. And so tonight we're going to talk about remembering the mission and unleashing the warrior hero in you. That's what we're going to talk about. So grab your cuppa and your notebook and join us for a minute. We're not going to be too awfully long tonight, and so it's so good to see you. Just let me know that you're here. Hi Shannon, thanks for being here, and I'm looking forward to enlightening conversation tonight. So for those of you that have never seen me before, I go live every Wednesday night. I have a personal and spiritual development center in Ohio called A Village, and so we have classes and events. I do workshops and I do keynote speaking, all kinds of cool things. And so we've got a lot of new things coming up in the coming months, and to get you inspired and to get you out of your comfort zone and learn new things. So a lot of the work that I do, I work very holistically, which is a little different than some folks do. But I represent the spiritual body, and I work holistically with people to not only bring everything in balance, your physical, your emotional, and your spiritual. And so I'm all about opening you up to new ways to do things, to seek out help from other modalities, and to get you in balance. Okay, so normally when I meet people, quite often it's in the midst of some cataclysmic event in their life that has, shaken their reality. And quite often that initiates this process that we call grief, which is an emotional roller coaster to try to find new normals after these situations. And so I work very in tandem with mental health professionals and physicians, and, trying to get people all the tools they need to find out who they are, what's going on, and how to live better, how to create peaceful, abundant lives, in spite of some of the things that we've been taught. So I'm here to just remind you today of the mission. So, as souls, we all start out on the other side, and so I'm really kind of like Kevin Bacon, and you're like Charlton Heston or Melanie Griffith, and so we all get together and I say, okay, look, I have to go into this, I want to go into this life, and I have very specific things that I need to learn while I'm there, and so I'm going to learn some things, and I'm going to create experiences, and I'm going to receive experiences, and then I'm going to evolve and get hopefully better through all of that, and eventually leave the world better than we found it. So and then we get born, and we totally forget the whole mission. So what I've learned after being a medium and a spiritual teacher for 28 years, is that, once we come into this journey, we all come with inherently, we come here with some inherent inner knowing that we haven't really been taught to trust or develop. And so, we call that our little voice, that inner knowing. It's trying to guide you. So what I do as a medium clairvoyant professionally is I help connect you to that stage crew that's on the other side, that's always guiding, always helping, in spite of you sometimes, okay? And so once we start learning to build that trusting relationship with that higher consciousness, some people call it their conscience, some people call it God, some people call it the divine, the universe, creator, whatever label you want to put on this thing that's running outside the scope of our reality. It can't interfere in our choices because we are here to learn, but it does guide us, okay? And so once we are born into this life and we get plunked down with, into this ongoing production that we call life, we're plunked down with our parents and all these other folks, and they start trying to teach us the rules of being human. And then these experiences happen where we don't have an understanding of why this is happening. Nobody prepared us for some of these things. And so, awakening usually is preceded by something that knocks you out of the illusion of what you thought your life was. And that's quite frequently when I meet you guys. So whether it's the death of a person or the death of a situation or some unexplained situation or just this inner nagging knowing that you're not living your purpose, you're not doing what you think you should be doing, that's when people start seeking out, me for guidance, from our ancestral beings on the other side. And so it's an honor for me to do this work. Okay. Now, like you, I got born into a group of folks. I was conditioned by all kinds of different systems. And along the way, I always knew that this was not necessarily who I was. I didn't really know who I was. And so, all the experiences I had in my life, good, bad, and otherwise, were really training for greatness, training for leadership, training for wisdom. You don't get good at anything without practicing. And so again, when we can take those experiences and we can extrapolate out the reasons or the lessons out of those things and the people as teachers, we start growing and evolving and maturing, not only physically and hopefully emotionally and spiritually as well. So that's what I'm here to talk about tonight, because, some folks have taken very difficult journeys into this human life and have experienced all kinds of things that really defy human explanation sometimes. And so you sometimes sit there and it was funny. It popped in my head today. Why me? Why me? Why me? Okay. So one of my favorite scenes is from Beauty Shop when Queen Latifah's with the choir and she's going, "Why me, Lord?" And everybody's going, "Why me?" And so again, why you? Well, the answer that I got when I've asked that question in my own awakening, in my own process of evolving, is I would say, well, why me? And it's like, well, it had to be you. It had to be you in order to affect and change the people and situations that you're being born into. So we're all kind of here on this secret mission. And it's secret even to us, okay? But as we start to work through some of these experiences in our life, the good things, the lesser things, the choices we make, we're constantly, hopefully, growing and evolving and disciplining ourselves to make better choices, to do things in a higher expressive way. And again, the only way you're going to learn this is through the wisdom. It comes from actually doing it, and applying it. So that's what happens when we do coaching. This is what we do when I'm in a session with someone, is I'm taking them to this higher spiritual perspective that runs above this human life. And it kind of just allows us to see it from this more expansive understanding. So then it just brings peace and understanding to these human experiences that we've had. And so for those of you that have had interactions with me and have really put your feet on the road of some kind of a spiritual program, you understand that, the things that looked so awful 10 years ago, now we can almost find the blessing or the purpose in it. And it was more of a gratitude thing. Thank you for that. Thank God that happened, because it altered the trajectory of my life. And as much as it looked awful in the moment, if that didn't happen, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation today, So when we take every one of our experiences out of the bag and we sit with it, we sit with, how did that happen? What choices did I make? What choices did other people make that affected me? What could I possibly learn about myself and other people from this experience? And when we sit with those things, and some things just defy explanation, guys. It's not for today. Okay. And that's where we have to have faith and know that even though we don't understand in this moment, that there is purpose in this that we just can't see. And this is why it's so important to build a trusting relationship with the higher consciousness, the other side, whatever terminology you want to use for that. Because they have your back. They have your highest and best in mind. But they cannot interrupt our free will and our ego's choices that we make in this life. So, the process, there's lots of processes, guys. There's lots of programs that we can do to help unravel these things, to make peace with these things. And sometimes it's not one, you can't have one program. You need sometimes a number of different programs to help holistically, each aspect of the body to get to that place. But tonight, what I really wanted to talk about was remembering our mission. So being born at this time of the world is not an accident. We all purposely took this journey to be in the world at this time, in whatever capacity, whether you're male, female, trans, whatever body, meat suit you picked, and whatever area that you got plugged down in that you chose, okay, there's purpose in it, okay? And so remembering that we're divine, and that we're divine beings that are taking this human journey for its experiences, for us to learn, for us to become wise, and for us to leave it better than we found it. That's the mission. And right now, the world needs more heroes. You need a hero. You are the hero you're waiting for. It's just that sometimes we get so consumed by some of these experiences, or we have so few tools to understand or to navigate them. Like death is my favorite topic, okay? Nobody prepared us that some people are going to die. Most people have not been taught that this life is limited, this life is precious, and it's fragile, okay? And that not everybody stays the whole time, okay? Now, I have a son who is older now, and these are conversations that we've had his whole life, age appropriately, okay? But, taking him to funerals, having these conversations about death and why people pass away. And, there's different reasons why this body fails, and so these were preparing him for, other deaths in his life, whether it's a person or a situation, and it doesn't have to be a morbid thing. But again, the more experiences that you have and the more peace that you can come to in the purpose behind these experiences is like putting another tool in your toolbox. It's like having a hammer. And not only having a hammer, but knowing how to use it. You can use it as a weapon or you can use it as a tool. It's just how you use it. And disciplining and training ourselves to trust that higher divine guidance that's always behind the scenes helping us. Now, sometimes people can't hear that. They can't trust that. They've had conditioning that took them away from faith, which is trust without evidence. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust other people. They don't trust anything bigger than them is at work here. And so you can't manage all this by yourself. None of us can. And so, learning how to build those trusting relationships holistically, and having a team of people who can help you, and and evolving through that stuff to a place of acceptance. That's the trick, is working through those things. So, for instance, and I only tell stories about my own life because it holds a truth, okay, and an awareness that I've come to after working through and around these things many, many times, okay? So you don't just get it right away. It's the peeling back of misinformation that we've been taught, and then it's coming to these higher truths and awarenesses about ourselves and about then other people. So we can't really understand other people until we understand ourselves, our motives, why we do what we do, who taught us that. So when I meet other people who are struggling with the same things that I used to struggle with, I know why they do that. I know somebody didn't teach them that, or I know that somebody hurt them and made it hard for them to be able to trust other people. And so again, this is the beauty of waking up and having self-awareness and learning how to discipline yourself and how to become wise from those experiences so we don't keep doing dumb stuff over and over and over again, although some of us do, okay? Because, our ego, like I say all the time, our ego is not our amigo. Our ego is petulant and thinks it knows it all. And that's one thing that happens when you have these abrupt things that come into your life is you realize you don't know anything, and that's the worst day, best day, because now it should hopefully make us willing to work at it and learn it. And, that's kind of the point. So the best part of it is I see, the more difficult the journey makes the best leaders, because you're hard to fool when you've had these experiences. And so often we're so consumed with the trauma of our experiences that, we don't see them, that they weren't designed to really tear us down. They were designed to make us great. And so it's kind of like the baddest ass leadership camp ever. And so when I meet people who've made lesser choices, or, have done some things, or, it was really in ignorance. If they knew better, they'd have done better. I've done things in my ignorance that had I known better, I would have done better too. But since I didn't, and I had an experience, I can extrapolate out those lessons from that. And sometimes the lessons that I learn about it aren't now. It's way down the road. So for instance, I was severely bullied as a kid. Okay. And I'm not saying this for pity. I'm saying this because this is a fact. Okay. So I was severely bullied. And so this was a huge resentment. This was a huge thing that killed my confidence, that made me feel separate and lesser than for a very, very long time. Okay. And so I masked that with an illusion of who I wanted people to see. So I was like Billy Badass. I would, I put up this protective thing that protected me, that made me unapproachable, made me, scary sometimes, and so that was a protective mechanism that I created, because I'd been taken advantage of on a number of levels multiple times. Okay. And I never had anyone who rescued me, who came to my defense. And so I learned to distrust people for an early part of my life. And so when I had some of the most cataclysmic things happen simultaneously in my life, it stripped me of all the illusions of all the costumes, all the, veneer that I put up. And I had to finally come to see myself authentically, minus the bullshit. Okay. My whole life fell apart. And so when I look back at like the bullies in my life, okay, it was interesting because at the time I had a spiritual teacher, and his name was Dave Whitefeather. And I had carried so many resentments, so much victimization. And one day Dave said to me, he goes, Marianne, everything that's presented to you as a teacher, every experience that you've received was not only for you, but for them as well. And so what we need to do is rise above this from the spiritual perspective. And let's take the lesson and let the teacher go. And so this was a very long process of working through the traumas that I've had in my life, coming to see my own side of the road, and where I had become those things on some level and had projected or done those things to other people. And so the awakening process was about kind of like cleaning out this closet of stuff and making peace with it one thing at a time. Okay. But again, Dave's wisdom from this higher spiritual perspective was everything is a teacher. Everything is showing you an aspect of yourself. Everything is a projection of someone else's dysfunction on other people. And Dave would tell me, he said, Marianne, there's lessons in it. So just take the lesson and then let's let the teacher go. So that letting go of those resentments, coming to a place of awareness and created forgiveness, created peace in my heart, peace in my being. And it allowed me to connect and understand why other people do what they do. Once I understood my own behavior, my own stuff, it instantly connected me to other people. So when I say our pain becomes our purpose, it's true. Some of the greatest leaders I've ever met have had the most humble beginnings, and again, it's a sense of humility. When we look at leadership, it's about people who've been there and done that. I've had jobs where I've had bosses who couldn't do my job if they had to. Okay. And by virtue of whatever else became a leader. Okay. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they're capable of leading. So, so again, there's a lot of people in our world that are leaders in name only, but they're not really leading other people. So so here's the thing: I try desperately to walk my talk. I am human. I am not perfect. I am a very enlightened spiritual being. I remember the mission. Okay, and no matter what this human world shows or throws at me or others, I have no fear. I have no fear of death. I have no fear of, not that I want to leave here anytime soon, but I have no fear of the end because I have no regrets. I have no regrets. I've done so many things in this life, and I'm not afraid to take risk and step out of my comfort zone. And for some people, that's an inspiration. For some people, my life scares the living shit out of them, okay? They couldn't take risk like that, okay? But it's not risky when it's backed with wisdom, okay? So, like I said, it's one thing to run with scissors and take risk, okay? And it's another thing to take calculated risks based on experience and wisdom, okay? So what I do might look risky to a lot of people, but to me it's not, because it's backed with experience. So I'm here to remind you that you are a spiritual being who's chosen a human experience, okay? And once we remember that, now it's just cleaning up the party. Now it's just cleaning up all the bullshit you were taught. Now it's just cleaning up all the bad choices you made. Now it's time to take the lessons and let the teacher go. And now it's time to stand there in your authenticity and say, I am a warrior. I am here to change the world. I'm here to leave it better than I found it. I'm here to teach my children how to live joyfully and compassionately, but not to be afraid to speak up and stand up and do all of those things. Be the things that we never had in our lives. I never had a champion. I never had anyone. Now, I'm not just going to throw myself in harm's way because I'm vindicating myself, okay? I'm giving people the tools of empowerment, and I will stand next to you or behind you and cheer you on while you stand up and you do it, okay? That's advocating. That's what it's like. I'm not here to do it for you, but I will definitely cheer you on. Now, the cool thing is we have a whole village, okay? So when you come to an event here, you're going to meet other people who are powerful in their life. They didn't start off that way. We all kind of start off powerless, okay? But we all find our authenticity, find your power, and wherever you're planted in your spiritual journey in this human life is you're here to affect that world, whatever it is. So I'm me. I meet so many kinds of people because of the work and what I do in this world, and you're planted somewhere else and you're doing that mission, that God's work where you're at with the work you do. And so if we just started seeing this as not a job but a vocation, that we're here to serve others in whatever capacity and talents you have. Maybe you're a musician, maybe you're a physician, maybe you're a pharmacologist, whatever your talent is being expressed to heal somebody in this life, okay? And to bring them to a higher consciousness. Music is one thing that musicians use, and that's a modality they use to reach people. Physicians use their talents to heal people. Mental health professionals use their talent and their intuition to heal people. And so we're all meeting different people that I'll never meet, that you'll never meet, and that we're all out here doing this work together. We all have the common mission of awakening in this world, helping other people as they awaken, and to leave this world better than we found it. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Yeah, sounds simple. So again, everything in our life has not been for nothing. But again, suffering is a choice. Suffering, we can choose suffering, and that's a battle between the lesson and the ego. Okay, and I have to tell you, we joke around about this all the time. I named my ego, okay? She was ignorant. She didn't know some things. She did the best with a hammer and a screwdriver. But guess what? Marianne has better tools now. And so, when our ego's running around out there, it's not really giving a shit about anybody but itself, okay? And so this is why I always joke that our ego is not our friend. Our ego is not our amigo, because my ego was petulant and it was willful and it didn't want to be told what to do. And that created a lot of suffering in my life, okay? And that Marianne Goldweber had to clean up, okay? So I call her Mercedes, and she was a handful, but she's also the fuel in my furnace, and she gets shit done. And so somewhere between our shadow self and our higher self comes this beautiful balance, like the yin and yang, the light and dark. The two have to coexist. So we're not here to be spirit. We're here to be human. But we don't have to be so human that we forget our divinity, that we forget the mission. And so you're in leadership camp. This is a warrior only gets good at things by practicing, by honing his skill. And so when you feel disheveled from the experiences that you've had, when we awake in the middle of this shit show, okay, there are ways to get out of it. There are ways to learn from it. But again, most of us just don't have enough of those folks in our life. And this is why people like me exist, and mental health professionals and physicians. And hopefully, I hope they all start working together. I'm seeing some shifts in those things. But again, the missing key is the spiritual thing. So whether you're atheist or whether you're whatever, there is a higher id, a higher consciousness that is guiding us that you cannot deny. Not the critical voice that says, you suck, you're an idiot, okay? I'm talking about the higher voice that goes, what are you doing? Go left. Don't do that, or gives you this brilliant idea. And you're like, no, I don't feel good enough to pursue that. Okay, that's your ego shutting it down. Okay, I'm like, okay, what the hell, might as well. I trust my inner guidance because I know that it loves me, and I asked it to help me when I came down here in this human life and forgot. Okay? So awakening is remembering. Awakening is remembering. Remember your divinity. This life has meaning. Its experiences have purpose. And your job is to figure out what the purpose is. And even if you can't today, to have faith to know that there is purpose behind absolutely all of it. Okay? And if you're lost and you need a map and a compass and you need a little guidance from your stage crew on the other side, I happen to speak telepathy. I can contact that and then give you the tools so that you know what to do when I'm not around. When you learn to trust that guidance and you learn to trust dream time and you trust the signs and the symbols and all the things coming around you. So, funny story. I was talking to a lady one day about fear. So, the totem animal that represents fear is rabbit, okay? And I told her, I said, you're like a little bunny. I yell boo, and you just jump, okay? You just leap. You could be leaping off a cliff. You could leap into the fire. I said, but that's what rabbit does. It represents fear, okay? And so I told her the story about rabbit, which I will tell you tonight, because this is for somebody out there. So, 1 second. Sorry, I've been talking all day. So the story is that there's this little rabbit out in the field, and he hides behind a bush because he sees the hawk in the sky. He goes, oh no, Brother Hawk's going to see me, and he's going to come down and eat me. So he yells out to the hawk. He goes, Brother Hawk, don't see me, little rabbit, here in the bushes. And the hawk keeps circling. And the little rabbit yells out louder this time. He's like, Brother Hawk, don't see me, little rabbit, here in the bushes. And the hawk goes, oh look, a rabbit, and comes down and eats him. So fear calls in the thing it fears the most. It's like a call out to the universe to please send me something scary. So I told this story at an event, and I told this poor woman, I said, you're not living because, the illusionary fears are keeping you from all the wonderful stuff in life. And she's like, yeah, that's happening. I said, okay. So they leave, okay, after the event, and they called me, like at midnight on their way home, and they go, Marianne, she hit a rabbit on the highway. I'm like, right? So again, guys, the message repeats. And so you're not here to suffer. Other humans taught us to keep struggling, keep suffering in spite of things. You can make this life whatever you want it to be. You do not have to subscribe. Fear is a limiting thing, and you are a warrior, okay? So if nobody tells you today, I love you, you're worth it, you are beautiful, you are smart, and you can educate yourself, okay? You don't have to be ignorant. Ignorance is curable. It's lack of information. So we got all kinds of resources to educate yourself, okay? And suffering is not an option, okay? Other humans taught you that, and so how'd that work for them, right? How was their life with all their wonderful advice they've given you? I don't just trust anybody because they tell me stuff. I pay very close attention to how they talk, how they walk. Are they walking their talk? Are they full of shit? Okay, and again, I align with things that speak to me that way. So, who you hitching your wagon to? You are who you align with. You're known by the company you keep. And again, if you just hook your wagon onto, you're never going to know where that's going to take you. So I want you to drive your own wagon. Okay, I want you to suit up your team, get everything on there, and how important it is for you to not be afraid, to step through your fear, to ask for help, and to remember your divinity. Okay, you are not here to stay small. Okay, you are here for the next 7 generations in your family. Some of us are breaking huge generational dysfunctional cycles, and we're making it better for our kids, and they're going to make it better for their kids. But, so again, remember your divinity. You are not here to suffer. You are great. Okay, you are powerful. And if you are struggling, this is leadership camp. Okay, this is the PhD of living. It's not in what you know. It's about what you do. Actions speak way louder than words, especially to the universe. So, I love you all. I'm Marianne Goldweber, spiritual teacher, owner of a Village Personal and Spiritual Development Center. I have classes, I have events. We're going to start doing some tours. I've got some very exciting things coming up, which I haven't disclosed to you yet. And so stay tuned. We're coming into the full moon, so this is a great time for executing new plans. Pluto is still retrograde, which is about revealing truths. So people cannot hide their stuff now, okay, for the next 6 months. You're going to be seeing exactly who people are. Their talk and their walk are not working together, and it's going to be wonderful. But just so you know, make sure your side of the road is clean. If you got anything hidden, now would be the time to fix it or let it out or make peace with it, okay? And if you guys want a game plan, call me for a session. Go to my website, MarianneGoldweber.com. All of the information is on there. And I would love to coach you. I would love to work with you. I would love to help you through whatever traumatic event is happening in your life. And there is spiritual purpose in everything. I swear. I promise. My life is a living testimony to that. So thank you all for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and write down those dreams, okay? Because they're powerful and they have meaning. And so when I hang up, I'm going to answer you guys on the messages that you sent me. But if you have any other questions, don't hesitate to reach out and call me, 216-324-2657. Thanks so much, and I hope you guys have a magical evening. Thanks so much, and have a great night.